Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean,
I would just replace all of my chairs with toilets and go on with my life.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Every time I say it, it's going to suck even more.
Everyone's idiots.
I am the dog.
I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landen.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Hi.
And we're here to talk all things tech this week. And, you know, it's not as busy this week, listener, but we decided we're going to give you something. I'm sure we can rant about a few things to make this longer, but we'll see what happens.
Just got to get me on a tangent and I'll go. That's
Listener, I had to cut off a tangent just so we could start recording.
That's true.
I was like, hey, we're going to be here all night. Let's do this. So, all right, let's get into it. Looks like first on the docket here, we got some Google news. Google learned how to properly design app icons again.
Yeah, listener. So if you've been using any Google apps for the last few years, you understand the problem of wanting to open up this app, but then you accidentally open up this other app because the icons all look the same. They all are, I mean, the shapes are slightly different, but they all have the same color scheme as, you know, the Google icon, which is the red, yellow, green, and blue. But they all look like that. Really annoying, because I've done that. Almost every time I go to open up Maps, I open up, I don't even know what it is that I open up, something else. And it's really obnoxious. Because, again, they all look the same.
Yeah.
But, luckily, there's been a leak. I don't think this has been officially announced yet. I would imagine it's probably going to be, well, I don't know if they'll talk about it, but it may come out at Google I.O. that this is happening. But all of the Google Workspace icons are getting updated to basically kind of back to what they used to be, but with a little modern version of that. So, like the Google Drive icon is the little triangle with the green, yellow, and blue. That's it. It's great. Google Docs is just the little blue piece of paper looking doc icon. Great. You know, things like Google Meet, which is still a thing, is just the little video camera that it always has been, but it's yellow. You know, great.
Oh.
Google Calendar is just the calendar icon, the blue with the little date in the middle. Also fantastic. You know, it's what they were and what they have always should have been. But for some weird reason, someone at Google got the idea. It's like, no, we need to make everything have the same color scheme so everyone knows that it's Google. It's like people already know that it's Google when they open it and it says Google. You don't need to make the icon scream Google at you because how do you know what you're clicking on?
There is something to be said about visual similarity in order to have consistent branding on your products. However, there's also something to be said about being able to visually distinguish things from each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And this is, you know, which is one of the reasons why using generative AI to generate anything that you want to use in any kind of production workflow is a terrible idea, because it can't actually make things look unique or distinct, because all it can do is recycle stuff that came before it. So it can make things look like other things, but you what's the point of that? You know, it's more helpful if they look unique, if they look distinct in some way. So that's
Yeah, I mean, and like Caleb said, it does make sense to have some sort of familiarity between app icons. That's called a design language.
Yes.
Kind of pick a form of design and go with it whether that be like a mostly flat design, a little 3D to it, something like that. It doesn't mean they only get 3 colors and that's all you
Yeah.
choose. No, you
Yes.
can vary on the colors, but you can still have a design language that fits in.
It's not even the only 3 colors. I think it's actually totally fine to say you can only use these 3 colors or you can only use these 6 colors. Where you run into issues is when you say everything has to be this flat style, has to use this sort of like general design language, and these are the only 3 colors you can use. Also, you must use all 3 of them.
Yes.
Or whatever. Like that's where it's like, not only are you limited to a color selection, but you cannot use any less than that. They all have to use the exact same color palette.
Yeah.
And they have to use the whole color palette. It's a weird way to go about that. And I don't know how you get a whole lot of visual distinction out of that. If you have to look really closely at an app icon in order to recognize what the heck it is, something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it is right now. Pretty like not all their apps are this way, but a lot of them have all of the colors in the Google logo and no more, no less. And then they do have slightly different design, like the shape is slightly different, but the colors are all basically in the same place and all the icons. So yeah, it's just really difficult to tell. Now, these ones I'm looking at, the only one that has red in it is the Gmail app. And that makes sense because it's always had red.
Yes.
Now, and it's also the only one that has all the colors in it, which again is fine, but it's also mostly red. So it makes sense. Whereas all the other ones have the green, the yellow, or the blue, or a combination therein, but the icons are also very distinct, and it's much easier to tell them apart. So this is a good thing. And again, I don't expect this to actually come out until after Google I.O., and even then, it may be a couple months, maybe when the new Android version comes out, it'll happen on Android, and then shortly after that on iOS. But either way, thank you, Google, for finally realizing that people hated what you did before.
Good job, Google. Okay. Go ahead and move over to General Tech. Check it out. We got new Moto Razr phones.
Yeah, new Moto Razr phones. And this year we have 3 Razr phones, but these are all the flip phones. I don't know what's going on with their folding phone, but they've announced new Razr flipping phones. They've got the Moto Razr, the Moto Razr Plus, and the Moto Razr Ultra, all of which I think are really good phones. The downside here is the regular Moto Razr has gone up in price. It now starts at $800, which is unfortunate. But the Razr Plus starts at $1,100, and the Razr Ultra starts at $1,500. So they are, again, they're still cheaper than what you can get from Samsung in this category for what, like, spec-wise and price, But they have gone up. They are more money. But I still think for what you get, it's definitely better than what Samsung is offering, in my opinion. And that's mostly to do with the external display on all 3 of these phones is actually usable, because even the cheap one, the Moto Razr, has a 3.6-inch display on the outside that is fully usable. It's great. The other 2 both have 4-inch displays, so slightly bigger, slightly more usable, but, it is what it is. The big distinguishing factor in all 3 of these phones really has to do with the chip inside. So the regular Moto Razr has a MediaTek Dimensity 7450X, which is definitely more of a mid-range style chip. The Razr Plus has a Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, which I think is a slightly higher end mid-range chip. Was a flagship, I think, at one point, but it's not the current flagship. That belongs to the Moto Razr Ultra, which does have the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, which is the current flagship chip from Snapdragon. So that's a first, actually, in the Razr phones, where it's got the latest chip in it. So I'll take that. The other one is the battery size. So the regular Moto Razr has a 4,800 milliamp hour battery. The Moto Razr Plus has a strangely smaller 4,500 milliamp hour battery. But then the Razr Ultra comes in with the biggest one at 5,000 milliamp hours, and that's actually a silicon carbon battery as well. So that's great. Love to see that. That's what I really want to see in all of these folding phones, is the silicon carbon battery, where you can get more battery capacity in a smaller package. It's great. But yeah, other than that, I mean, prices are obviously going to be different, and the chips are different, but I think all of these phones are a good option depending on how much you want to spend and how much power you really want. And honestly, the MediaTek chip is going to be fine for the majority of people. But I know there are people that just have to have the highest end chip, and you're going to be spending a little more money for that, and that's fine. The other distinguishing factor here, I guess, is cameras. The Razr and Razr Plus both have dual 50 megapixel sensors, and then the Razr Ultra has 3 50 megapixel camera sensors on it. So there you go. Each of them have a main sensor and a ultra wide, and then the Ultra adds a telephoto lens to that as well. So there you go. New Moto Razr phones that, again, are the ones that I would recommend for anybody wanting this style of a folding phone.
Yeah. We've heard good things about this folding phone, so yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Clicks Communicator coming this year.
And now the phone that Caleb wants to buy.
Yeah.
We talk about the phone that Caleb used to want to buy with the Moto Razr. Now it's the phone that he does want to buy, the Clicks Communicator. We have not an official date of when this phone will be available, but a time frame of when they are planning to have it available. So, still nothing confirmed fully, but Clicks, the company behind this phone, is saying that they are planning on having pre-orders in Q3 of 2026 is when that'll start to happen, and they get certifications and testing and all that stuff to happen on this phone. And then they are also saying they're expecting to finally ship the device sometime in Q4 of 2026. So holiday season is when this phone is expected to be available to actually have in hand to use. And listener, if you don't remember what the Clicks Communicator is, it's basically a BlackBerry, but better.
But Android.
But yes, but Android. I mean, well, that was a thing. BlackBerry did make an Android phone for a while.
That's true, they did.
This one, it has the full keyboard on the bottom. It's got a decent-sized square display on the top. And it's a nice little compact phone. It looks fantastic. And if you really want that physical keyboard, this is, I think, the only option you really have right now to have it actually attached to the phone instead of just buying a case or something that connects to the phone but is not actually part of the phone.
Which would leave your phone really top heavy, and I still don't understand the reasoning of that. It strange.
It was a odd choice, but yeah. Clicks Communicator should be available at the end of the year. So if Caleb, gets a new phone for Christmas, this was probably going to be it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing that sucks about it is the original price that they quoted for the thing at CES is absolutely killer. It was $500, wasn't it? Something like that. Or was it even less than that? I can't remember, but I'm concerned it will not be launching at that price given the horrors.
Yeah, probably true.
It kind of sucks, but we can hope.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to the next thing. Spotify partners with Peloton.
Yeah, this is an interesting little thing that's happened this past week. So Spotify announced that anybody that has Spotify Premium will be able to access some workouts provided by Peloton through the Spotify app, which is odd. But that's an option now. So and it's also really interesting the way you have to find these workouts in Spotify. There's not just a tab somewhere that's like fitness or workouts or anything like that. No, you have to go into search and type in fitness, and then it will bring up the workouts. So it's like you're searching for music or a podcast in Spotify, but you're searching for a workout. Huh. Interesting.
Alrighty.
And it's not all the Peloton stuff. Like if it's none of their, like if you have a Peloton bike or any of their equipment, those workouts are still limited to Peloton subscribers. It's basically the stuff that does not require any of their hardware. So like they have different like yoga workouts or running workouts or things like that. That's the type of stuff that is going to be available for Spotify premium users. But, I mean, it is still something. I can't necessarily say this is a bad thing. It's just an interesting choice, especially considering how you access this stuff is odd, in my opinion. But it is kind of cool. I think it will work out better for... I think it'll work out better for... Peloton than it will for Spotify. I don't think this is going to bring people into the Spotify to pay for Spotify Premium, but it may bring people to be like, oh, I actually like these Peloton workouts. Maybe I'll buy some of their equipment and pay for their subscription to do different things. So
yeah,
I think it's definitely better for them, but it's also nice that, you know, your music app and your workout app are together. So it kind of I would imagine they would work nicely together, playing music and also listening to the workout routine.
Yeah, you'd sure hope so.
But I haven't used it, so I don't know that for sure.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if it basically treats the workout like it's an album, so you can only listen to the workout?
Oh, that would be... I wouldn't put it past Spotify to do that.
That would be so stupid.
Oh, man. Hopefully it actually... You know, I have used... Apple, what's their work? Apple Fitness or whatever.
Yeah.
I like when I got my Apple Watch, it came with a 3 months of Apple Fitness for free. And I did use that for a while, and it worked great using separate, like I didn't have Apple Music. I did use Spotify, but it still worked really well listening to music and working out, because it would kind of tone the music down when the instructor wants to say something to you, but then turn it back up when you're just working it, and it worked great. So I would hope that this will work similarly to that. But I can't verify that because I haven't used it, and I honestly don't think I'm going to use it. But
valid.
It's now an option. And again, I think it's a decent option. So if you have a Spotify premium account, you can look for that if you want to start using some of these workouts as a free, as an included option.
Right.
Interesting.
Not free, you are paying for it, but you're already paying for it, so it won't necessarily be an increase.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, go ahead and we'll move on to the next thing. We got some gaming news. Steam controller launch date and price.
That's right, listener. So you may recall, end of last year, Valve kind of just on a random Wednesday in December, blowing everybody's news feeds up by announcing 3 different pieces of hardware, which, like I said, more like 2.5, because the Steam controller was obviously intended to just be a support option to the Steam machine itself. However, since then, the horrors, right? RAM prices, storage prices, now CPU and GPU prices, everything has absolutely exploded. Supply chains have been eaten alive by the promise, not the actuality, but the promise of gigantic AI data centers over $500 billion worth of which have been straight up canceled or placed on hold indefinitely, despite the fact that the people who said they were going to build them have reserved the snot out of all of the RAM and storage and CPUs and GPUs. So none of that can be sold to consumers, and companies trying to get that stuff to put in products that get sold to consumers can't get a hold of it. Anyways, all of that happened. And so suffice it to say, Valve did not, as they had intended, launch the Steam Machine and the Fetch, the headset. What was that thing called? The Steam... not Index. That's the old one.
I can't
Crap.
remember.
That's going to bug the snot out of me. Somebody Google it. Yes. So they have not launched those, right? The actual computing devices that they announced. The 1 and 2 of what I said was 2.5 products that Valve announced last year.
Steam Frame.
Frame.
Steam
That's
Frame.
it. Frame.
Steam
Steam Frame.
Got it.
Thank you. But I suppose I kind of need to eat my words now, because the supply chains for controller electronics have not been so horribly mangled by the AI apocalypse. And Valve is like, you know what? We can't launch the Steam Machine. We can't launch the Steam Frame because we don't have the ability to like actually guarantee these products at a price to consumers right now due to the horrors. But we're going to launch the Steam controller anyways. So they announced the launch date. It's May 4th, which as of the time you are listening to this, listener, is probably yesterday. So it's available now. And the review embargo for the thing lifted this past week. So there's a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff of people reviewing it. I think the most interesting coverage for me with stuff like this has got to be Fetch Steve from Gamers Nexus. That's the I can't remember the guy's. I can remember his name, can't remember his channel's name.
Words.
Gamers Nexus, because Gamers Nexus is really hard on companies. Like, they have kind of an adversarial relationship with companies a lot of the time, which, as a consumer who recognizes that companies frequently have an adversarial relationship with me, even though they claim they do not, I appreciate that perspective, you know? And so when he actually gets a piece of hardware provided before launch in order to review it by the company, like the company gave it to him, he didn't have to hijack their supply chain somewhere to get a stolen device to play with or something like that, because nobody at that company will return his emails. It's amazing to me that ever happens, but it happened, right? Valve gave Gamers Nexus a Steam controller and was like, yeah, go to town. Friggin' here's the controller. Here's the review embargo date. And so they did a full battery of tests. They actually put it through its paces in a really detailed way, not just like a kind of first impressions. We've used it for a few days. Here's how it feels. And they tore the thing apart as well. They opened it up and took it apart, investigated how it was built and everything. And the basic outcome is that like latency is good, not like necessarily unreal. It's not like, oh wow, this is a crazy wireless connection. We've never seen anything like this on a gaming controller before. It's good, right? Latency is good. It's nothing unreal though. And battery life is could be better, but it's okay. It's fine. The little charging puck thing that comes with the controller, it's a nice value add. And if you take the thing apart, it's ridiculously repairable, and honestly seems like it's been built to be modded, which is dope. Super cool, exactly what we'd expect from Valve given the Steam Machine or the Steam Deck and what they've promised with the Steam Machine and so on. So yeah, it's available. Does cost $100, which isn't cheap for a controller, but considering what it is, the amount of hardware that's in it, I don't think it's unreasonable, just a little high. But, Xbox controllers cost $70, so whatever. Or are they $60? How much is a first-party Xbox controller? I can't remember.
I want to say 60, but it's possible they're 70 just because.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about like the DualSense. I'm pretty sure that thing is $70, but it's also like really fancy with all the haptics and stuff.
Yeah.
So, dunno. But it's more expensive than the first party controllers, but it's also kind of more than the first party controllers. In addition to sticks and buttons, it's got trackpads on it. So that's the extra $30 right there.
Yeah. I would probably compare it to the Elite controller if I
Sure.
were to. And if I remember the Elite controller off the top of my head, listener, I believe is $120.
Yeah. So yeah, Steam controller, they have launched it. I guess I was a little bit dismissive to consider the thing to basically just be a barnacle attached to the side of the Steam machine in terms of marketing. Because the Steam machine is nowhere to be seen, but Valve just went ahead and dropped the Steam controller anyways. Like, listen, it's ready to go. We're not going to hold it back, waiting for everything else. So, good guy, Valve. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Valve. Appreciate it. All right. Well, it's kind of all the gaming news there. It looks like we're going to get to near the end of the episode. We like to always end with the bright side of life.
Welcome to the bright side of life. Hey! Hey!
All right, listener, we appreciate you listening and all the way into this section of the bright side of life. This is the newest section that we have and created that we like to end the podcast on with giving you, obviously, the bright side of life of the things that we enjoy for the week or what we're thinking of or things like that. So first person up, Caleb, give us your bright side of life.
Yeah, so the bright side of life for me this week is the Steam controller. But shock twist, not the Steam controller I was just talking about. So listener, if you remember the first Steam machine, didn't really take off, didn't really work out the way the Valve wanted it to. They followed that up with the Steam Link, which worked out a little bit better. And when paired with the Steam controller, did a pretty good job of giving you the ability to use your gaming PC in your living room without having to stick a giant gaming PC next to your TV, which is kind of an eyesore and kind of a pain in the butt. So, that they've experimented with this hardware in the past.
Yeah.
The Steam Link was fine. The original Steam machine was definitely not ready for prime time. The original Steam controller, though, I don't know, man. I like it. Okay? I have one. All this talk about the new Steam controller this past week got me thinking about it. And I think the new one looks great. I think it's probably a kind of more fleshed out, more fully rounded product. But I still like the original Steam controller. I think it's a good controller for PC gaming exclusively, right? Like you're not going to be pairing this thing to an Xbox or something like that. It just doesn't make sense in that context. But when the context is, I would like to be able to play all of the games in my Steam library and not all of those even support controllers, but I want to be able to play it with a controller, it makes sense when that's your design constraint and like some of the choices that they made. So one of the great things about it is that with all of this talk about the new Steam controller and the new Steam machine and stuff like that, and with the introduction of the Steam Deck, it's been years since the Steam Deck happened. Valve isn't killing support for the original Steam controller, right? The thing continues to be supported. The thing continues to be acknowledged by Steam. Like, I turn the thing on and Steam is all like, oh, hey, I know what that is. I know what to do with it. Would you like to enter big picture mode? And I'm like, no, it's not what I'm doing here, but I appreciate you asking, I appreciate the thought. So yeah, I think that the original Steam controller is a nice thing because it continues to be supported, because it continues to be a valid tool in this space, despite the fact that Valve has launched a replacement product for it at $100, especially since I bought my Steam controller during like a Valve summer sale years after the thing had launched, and it had already kind of fallen out of popularity. I paid $5.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was $5 for a controller that I believe was originally $50. So it's great. Thumbs up. I don't know if you can get them for anywhere near that price now
Probably
anywhere,
not.
but you know, if you've got it, no need to throw it out.
Yeah, I remember people either really liked it or they thought it was okay. There was never a, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, like I get it only has one stick. That's kind of the biggest issue with it, I think, is that it's like, yes, you have one analog stick and then you have a giant trackpad where the other analog stick kind of would be. And it's like, so if you need a second stick, you use the trackpad like a stick. Okay in concept, a little bit janky in execution. And I think that the way that the new Steam controller handles it, like I said, it feels like a more fully rounded product. This one feels a little bit half-baked, but also it was kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
As is evidenced by the Steam Deck and the new Steam controller, both of which have obvious designs like that were taken from the original Steam controller and just refined and implemented. So yeah, like it's good stuff, and it's still like older stuff doesn't, just because it's not the newest thing doesn't mean that it no longer is useful and has to be thrown out. And buying used tech is honestly one of the biggest slept on hacks for being the tech person, in your group of friends. Just if you're not considering used tech at every opportunity, you're making a mistake.
True. I agree. 100%. All right. Well, next person on up is, well, me and my bright side of life. I want to say the Xbox. Not so much the company, but more how I use it. It's just, listener, it's just nice to be able to just turn it on and hit go to a game, or even my game library. Just like, hey, I want to download this real fast and show my son or my kids, hey, this is this. What was really cool is we were able to download the demo from my phone, make sure it was ready for when we got home this week from school and all the other things, is the demo of the Final Fantasy Rebirth, which was nice that we could try it out, mess with it. We also do just real quick, say like Overwatch with the kids and whatnot. It's just really nice. And I don't have to, I don't know, all the parental controls are there. Everything's great. And it's just, I don't know. It's just nice to just have that. So we were talking about earlier before recording, like, oh, what are you thinking about? Like, what was really nice this week? I was like, it was just nice to have the Xbox able to run, turn on, and play. And it just really was. So I guess I could say the hardware is good that I use case for. So,
I mean, and there's something to be said about the console, like the living room console experience, yes, and the simplicity of it, like
yes,
at its absolute worst with a PlayStation or an Xbox, you're never going to have the average experience I had gaming on Windows, which is that every time you boot up your machine, you're sitting down like, yes, I have like an hour to play a game or an hour and a half to play a game or something like that. And I'm going to boot up my PC and I'm sitting there praying, every limb and digit crossed, trying to just, invoke the universe to prevent any kind of updates from happening when I started the thing up. It's just like that. You're never going to have an experience that bad, regardless. Like, yeah, you're going to have the occasional, I want to play this game. There's a 30 gigabyte update for the thing that, and okay, so I'm not playing that right now. But that's nothing quite as amazing as opening up your PC to discover that something there was a Windows update and everything has gone horribly wrong. Or you can't just freaking install the thing because, no, Windows is doing something. It's not even always Windows. Sometimes it's just the software somewhere. And then sometimes you start up a game, you think that everything is fine. There's no updates at all, but it's janky as snot. And the frame rate keeps dropping because somewhere in the background, Windows Defender is all like, yes, right now is the time. Anyways.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But console gaming, I guess.
Yeah.
What we use it for is great. So that is my bright side of life. And last but not least, Landon, what you got for us?
My bright side of life this week is I put on here AI workouts because I thought, AI works out. Does it? Right? No.
I'm just watching AI workouts. It's great.
He's got the AI over there pumping iron for him.
It's great.
It works out.
AI does amazing. No.
Yeah.
Actually, what I mean is I used Gemini specifically to create a workout routine for me. And it worked out really nicely. So what I did is I put into Gemini, I told it what workout equipment I have. I told it what weight set I have, what other equipment, other things I have on the side. I told it I have a mountain bike and I what things I like to do. I told it how much weight I want to lose and how many days I want to work out a week and for how long each day and different things like that. And it gave me a routine. Then we went back and forth a little bit on it. Asked me a few, questions about just narrowing things down on what I wanted to do and things. And it just went back and forth for a little while. Eventually it gave me a nice a nice little data sheet of what I wanted to do. I was able to put it into Google Sheets, print it out so I could actually put it on my weight set so I can refer back to it really easily. And it's really nice. It worked out really well. I used it this past week and it's a pretty decent routine. It's nothing super strenuous. I can add to it if I want. I can take away from it. It utilizes all the equipment that I have really well. It also gave me it after after it gave me the routine. It's do you also want me to make you a meal plan to go along with this workout? And I thought, well, let's focus on the workout first. I'll worry about the food later, which I do understand. The food part is actually more important than the working out part, but one step at a time here.
Yeah.
So.
Baby steps.
The working out part at least has the possibility of being fun and enjoyable. Whereas the food part is almost always going to kind of suck.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Awesome. So I want to get into the habit of doing the workout on a regular basis, and then I'll start working on the food because, just doing the workout is still going to be beneficial for me in the sense of getting into better shape, getting some strength back that I used to have, things like that. So, but yeah, using AI to do that, it worked out really nicely. It came out with a good routine that I enjoy. I might actually go back in. The other thing with the nice thing, I don't know how the other AIs work, but with Gemini, it saves it in its file, in a little folder for me to go back to this conversation. So I can go back to it and be like, hey, I want to tweak this a little bit. I want to add these things. How should I do that? And it can do that. So when I get used to this one and I want to tweak it a little bit more, add some different routines or things like that, I'm going to go back in and be like, hey, add this workout or add this exercise or different things, and then it'll do that for me, and I can it'll change it, and it's just really easy, really nice, and I would recommend that to anybody. I know AI has its issues, and we all know about those, and we complain about them a lot here, but AI also has its benefits, and this is one of them. So if you're looking to get back into working out or want to change things up a little bit, I would recommend using, basically, I'm sure you could do this with any of the AI software that's out there, but I just use Gemini, so that's what I used. So yeah, that's my bright side of life for this week.
Cool. Really good. I like that we were talking tech and Landon's like, nah, I just want to work out. So that works.
Hey, I use tech to get me to work out. So
See? There you go. All right, listener. Well, we appreciate you listening to it, and we're going to end this episode unless, Landon, you got one more thing for us?
No, I don't.
Wow, that's the shortest pause ever. Good job. I was prepared. I usually have this thing where I sit there and count, but I got to 2. Man, you got me there. Okay, well, listener, we appreciate you listening to this episode and any other episodes that you listen to. If you want to get a hold of us or have us talk about something or have any questions, you can get a hold of us on our brand new website, callingallplatforms.com. Of course, we're on the social medias. Go ahead and drop us a line there if you'd like to. And check out our YouTube channel, which has been seeing some videos come out recently here and there.
Sure. Some.
Now, when I say recently, I say within a year.
Yes. 2 videos in the past year, in fact.
See?
Incredible.
See, incredible. It's true. So you can check those out over on our YouTube channel there. All right, listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.